The Real Weather Watch on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Soybean School. Find us at soybeanschool.com. We're joined right now on RealAgriculture.com by Drew Lerner of World Weather Incorporated. Welcome today, Drew.
Thank you very much.
Drew, corn harvest is sort of at a grinding halt with all that's happened with the Hurricane Sandy. But in terms of from a longer viewpoint, what kind of weather can we expect this winter in southern Ontario?
Well, I think we will be seeing a lot of cool and dry air as we get further down the road. The airflow expected in the eastern parts of Canada is very definitely going to be out of the northwest frequently during this particular season. And so that'll prevent moisture from inflowing into the region, and will also be able to drag a lot of cool air down. Now, one of the things that seems to be lacking in general around the northern hemisphere is extremely cold conditions. At least that's been the case in recent weeks, but we have been noticing here over the past about 10 days or so that there's a lot of cold air starting to pool up in many areas in the higher latitudes, and so that's a clear sign that we're going to be able to see this pattern come to fruition. So a northwesterly flow will bring a lot of coolness down through Ontario and into Quebec and on into the most of the eastern United States too, for that matter. This pattern will not just be locked in forever and ever, but we will see more of these rather impressive cold surges separated by temperatures that are probably a little bit more seasonable and then go back into the cold again. So we'll end up definitely averaging below normal. It'll probably be more anomalous in the States than it will be in Canada, but nevertheless, we'll still have that cooler bias playing out. And I don't think we'll see a tremendous amount of precipitation, especially not in southeastern Ontario, but I think Quebec will probably do a little better.
Well, the drought in the U.S. was obviously well documented. There was numerous. I guess there was somewhat of some dry conditions in Ontario. Nothing like the U.S., but a lot of southern Ontario farmers want that precipitation, and they're not going to like this story that you're sort of telling here.
Well, I think we've done relatively better here in recent weeks. We've got a ways to go, but we've done relatively well. And Sandy is certainly going to leave behind a legacy of some moisture for the region. It's not going to be real heavy, not nearly as heavy as what will have occurred in the northeastern United States, but it's definitely in the right direction. As we move further out in time, it will be important that we get some better precipitation events to take place. One of the things that's going to be driving the pattern here for the eastern part of Canada this winter will be the negative phase of the North Atlantic Oscillation, and as long as that is present, there will be the potential for a couple of nor'easters to evolve. Nor'easters are storm systems that move up the U.S. coast from south west to northeast, and a lot of times they will become very intense as they get up towards the New England coast, and that usually brings some meaningful precipitation into parts of Quebec at least, and sometimes into Ontario as well. So we could see that happen a couple of times. I think in most cases that those nor'easters are going to be a little bit further to the south, and that's why I think we'll have that below average bias in the precipitation across the region. But all it takes is a couple of good storms, and all of a sudden everything's changed. So even though I don't expect a high frequency of storminess through the region, I think we'll get enough events that we will not be critically dry when we get to the spring.
And to wrap up, harvest completed. Are we going to see some warmer temperatures in the near term to try to get this corn harvest finished?
I think we will be able to warm up a bit, but this pattern is already beginning to evolve, and I think for us to anticipate an extended period of warm weather is probably a little unrealistic. I mean, we are moving into November here, and certainly in November it's pretty hard to get large volumes of warm air to occur at high latitudes. That doesn't mean we can't have warm winters. Obviously, we've had some, but I don't think that we're going to see an extended period of warm conditions across the region. I think we can probably go little spurts of time, maybe 4 or 5 days at a time, and then get back cool again. But that's really all we need as long as we can keep the moisture levels down in the soil, and that's the key. We've got to get warm enough so that we can dry it down a little bit and then get out there and get aggressive with the field work, and then hopefully when the next round of cold comes, it doesn't come with much precipitation.
Thanks a lot, Drew, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, take care now.